And so Sikoa kicked off SmackDown this week. He was so damn happy until that loon, Jake Fatu, attacked him. And given that the Bloodline 2.0 were in a car, Jake grabbed JC Mateo and he threw him into a door. I do not think that's legal. Somebody the whole time was shouting, no breaks, no breaks. And of course, it was Jake Fatu because that's his catchphrase. But it's way funnier if you think Sikoa was shouting this because he was so damn scared. I tell you, I enjoy this feud immensely. I just think Solo is coming to his own recently, and he makes me very, very happy. Cody Rhodes then just walked to the ring as if nothing had happened, and also, hello, my friends. Welcome to Ups and Downs, the only wrestling review show you need. So if you woke up today thinking you needed another wrestling review show, you're totally wrong. You only need the bald guy that gives the good bits an up and the bad bits are down. Are you ready? Let's go. Surprise, surprise, Cody Rhodes was cheered like crazy as well. So once again, we could all come down with this, oh my gosh, he's gonna go heel. He will one day, but we can take our time. And he was holding the King of the Ring crown, because of course he won that at Night of Champions. I was a bit like, look, if you're not gonna put it on your head because you're too embarrassed, surely we can just do away with the prop. Cody then shouted out a fan at ringside who I believe was called Cam, who was dealing with leukemia. So I was like, man, this guy, and of course we should all do that. Let's all send positive love to Cam. I hope you're all right. Cody then talked about other people that had won the King of the Ring, such as Bret Hart, Steve Austin, and Booker T. But we should be mad at Cody because he didn't say King Booker, and that's 100% the way to do it. However, he is now going to SummerSlam to take on John Cena. And as soon as he said John Cena, Randy Orton walked out. I was like, does Randy Orton now think his name is John Cena? The flub is going on. It did make me laugh though, because he was like, listen, Cody, I told you before Night of Champions I wouldn't hesitate. Then I hesitated. It's like when I wake up in the morning, I say, listen, I'm not going to have 4 cheese pizzas today. I'm going to have cheese pizzas. And the way I try to get over it is by saying, I didn't mean to do that. It was an accident. I've just lied to you massively. I can't eat cheese, I have a dairy allergy, and I literally die. The whole point, though, is that he now has the opportunity to get revenge on John Cena at Hot WrestleMania. So he looked at him and said, you have to do it, but was also like, oh, I tell you, even though I hesitated, you didn't hesitate, Cody, so I won't forget that, like he was a telltale game, so the heel turn is coming. And this time, when Randy said John Cena, out came Drew McIntyre. I was like, listen, Randy, you are not John Cena. Drew, you are most definitely not John Cena. But also, this was a big deal. Drew McIntyre is back on SmackDown. I won't lie, I popped. He basically said these two are essentially having a mother's meeting because they're acting like beta males, whereas the alpha male is back. And also, look at you, Randy Orton. You were kissing Cody Rhodes' ass this whole time. Of course he got on your head. You used to be the legend killer, but now your own legend has been killed. That was a pretty good line. He got in there too, because he's like, Randy, don't forget that Cody also worked your back, which is surgically repaired. But he quite literally turned around and he said, but Cody, I do want you to win at SummerSlam, because I want to be the guy to take that title from your hands. Well, that could probably happen at some point, but not before we do the Randy Orton feud. Of course, as soon as he looked at Randy, Orton dropped him with the RKO, which got a massive pop. And at first I was like, great, we can do Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton SummerSlam. Drew McIntyre can screw over Randy, and that's when Randy continues to go crazy, because he keeps losing before he does turn his back on Cody Rhodes, when we got Drew and Randy announced for Saturday night's main event. So I guess Randy Orton could win that one, and then Drew could win the SummerSlam one. At the same time, I don't think Drew should be losing right now, but at least it's intriguing. I like being intrigued. We are also planting seeds all over the place, and honestly, we are getting closer and closer to Randy versus Cody, a feud I've wanted for years, and I was very happy to see Drew inserted at this position, where he should always be. He is great. I'm giving it up. Good start to SmackDown. Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair then found out they were going to be tag team partners. Nick Aldis was forcing them together, although Alexa seemed quite keen. And they're going to be in a qualifying match to compete for the titles at Evolution. I was like, can you imagine if you were a proper, old school, run-running women's tag team in WWE? You'd be like, well, what a pile of bullshit. I've been waiting and now they got the shot. I'm going home. This is when Drew did find Nick Aldis and we found out it is going to be him versus Randy at SNME, where Jacob Fatu just walked in, being all crazy wazy. Nick Aldis like, I told you, you can't beat people up in cars, which is good advice for all of us, but I will give you a tag team match later. You have to find a partner. When Jimmy Uso just walked in, so he was right there listening to this. I was like, dude, I don't think it's the time. Just tell him you'll be his partner. That's what he did. It's our main event. We then went into this match that was Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss taking on B-Fab and Michin taking on the Secret Service. And this is a very, very difficult one because, listen, if you walked into my house and said, Simon, don't you think it's weird that Charlotte and Bliss won here, even though they don't like each other, and the other two are more established teams? I would go, yes. But then I would also come back and say, listen, those women's tag team belts need some star power, and whether we like it or not, out of these 6 people, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, Well, they are up the wimwam. Turns out this was literally going to be a triple threat as well because you had Bliss, Michin and Piper Niven in there at first. And of course, Charlotte instantly tagged herself in. She was like, I don't like you, Alexa Bliss. I don't share the spotlight, so I'm going to start. She didn't do this. And she did, I don't think it would have achieved anything. Alba Fyre eventually got to die because 2025, when Piper just flattened Charlotte, that's the second time she has done that. So I'm pretty sure these two are having conversations backstage. At the same time, if you told me Charlotte was dead, I was like, yeah, I bet she is. It looks absolutely devastating. Charlotte soon took her med pack and went for a figure four, but actually B-Fab was able to fight that off when Alexa Bliss basically did her own hot tag, and of course she ran wild. That's just what people do. Niven didn't care though, because she started wrecking people with black hole slams when the Secret Service finally got to work together. Be like, man, it's like 72 weeks since they became a team, and finally they're getting to show it. It really was a fun finish though, and actually whoever is coming up with these always seems to gravitate towards Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, so let's keep doing it. Because Charlotte was essentially going, see Alexa, I am winning and you suck, and she tapped Alexa Bliss on the head. The referee saw this and thought, well, actually, I think that means that is a tag. So even though Charlotte was beating people up, Alexa went to the top, she hit Twisted Bliss, she got the 1-2-3 after she pinned Alba Fyre, which means, yep, Charlotte, Flair and Alexa are now competing for the tag team titles. They hugged afterwards too, so maybe they're gonna do good. Now actually what I would do here is I would have Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez win, but they should pin another team. And then at SummerSlam, we go back to those two taking on Charlotte and Alexa. And yeah, Bliss and Flair should probably get the belts. There's just something to that of course we take these championships and we light a fire under them. My gosh, do we need that? But I am going to give it an up. I actually thought it was really quite fun. Nick Aldis then yelled at the entire tag team division because they all interfered in the title match last week. And I was like, yeah, that is your fault, Nick. Why the flub did you let every single team and their dog go to ringside? When he said, each one of you from a team is going to take on the Wyatts, apart from you, Andrade and Fenix. You're just going to have a random tag team match. It's like, this is a really weird way to book a show. This match was next, so thank goodness he did announce it. And it was Uncle Howdy, Eric Rowan, Joe Gacy, and Dexter Lumis taking on Berto, Johnny Gargano, Montez Ford, somebody else who I now forgot. Chris Sabin. That's right, Chris, I'm only here to take the pin, Sabin. And the absolute highlight of this is when Dexter and Johnny were in there. Gargano was like, oh my gosh, we used to be buddies, we used to be friends. Do you remember when we were down on NXT and we had a whale of a time? Dexter Lumis just punched him in the face. It's a bit like you should have seen that coming, Gargano. He's essentially part of a cult now. I think Uncle Howdy then accidentally cast magic because the tag klaxon went off and everybody was fighting. And what I did enjoy here is that everybody was trying to beat Eric Rowan up with super kicks. When Eric Rowan started throwing people around, we talked about this 7 days ago, he is a big dude, he should kill people. Montez Ford also went after all the Wyatts, which I was pretty impressed with because I think they are meant to be serial killers. When poor Chris Sabin was getting his ass whipped. But this was perfectly fine, because who was on the apron waiting for a tag? It was Johnny Gargano. And even though DIY have been the people running around saying, listen, we have to stand up for ourselves against the Wyatts, otherwise we'll be in trouble. John was like, yeah, I don't want any of this. He ran away. Chris was like, well, great, what am I going to do now? He got absolutely killed. 1, 2, 3. Now, thankfully, it was Eric Rowan that hit the choke slam to get that. And once again, I want to see him pushed. And this also means that we are going back to the Street Profits versus the Wyatts for those tag team championships. And if everybody gets involved again, I'm going to write a stern letter to Nick Aldis because he needs to get his ship in shape. So listen, this whole thing has got a little bit confusing, but what I really love is that WWE has a deep tag team division on SmackDown and we're using every single duo, but some of these people have to go over to Raw because the night and day comparison is crazy. So I wouldn't say this is a narrative that I get up in the morning like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for it, but it's consistent and it works and it focuses on people. And at least those tag team championships feel like they mean something. We should still reunite the belts, only have one set, but I don't make those decisions. I'm giving it up. But then I had a quick Julia video, and this worries me because I really felt like we should have set up a challenge for her instantly. And all she did was go, the beautiful man, this is coming, and I'm the US champion. Now, of course, we wait and see, because Julia is brilliant. But for the love of everything, can we please get this US title going? Well, I'm going to throw it down in here because it's exactly the same as Raw. This build to Evolution is in fast forward, and we are not allowing any of these performers to do anything. And essentially, they're walking to the ring and saying, oh, well, I guess there is an event. We may as well have a match. Do you want to have a match? Yeah, fine. That sounds good. Now let's go home and have a crumpet. I mean, that isn't doing a good service by anybody. It feels a little bit unfair, or if nothing else, it just feels rushed. Getting it down. Tiffany Stratton did just walk out from nowhere there and went, oh, hi, because Io Sky is allowed to choose somebody to fight Evolution. So had I, and I'm super excited to tell you. And then Jade Cargill walked out, and she had her whole entrance. Listen, the entrance is the coolest thing ever, and Jade looks like a badass. But I was like, if I had something to say, would I want all the pageantry? I'd probably just want to get to the ring. Wrestling. Now, of course, Jade Cargill was all like, that's right, I did win Queen of the Ring, so I am coming for you. And you have a choice to make, but you better make the right choice. And actually, it doesn't matter what choice you make, because whoever is the champion at SummerSlam, I'm going to win that title. Stared off into the distance. That is the most complicated sentence I've ever heard in my life. I don't know what's going on. Now, the funniest part is that Tiffany was like, well, actually, I have invited somebody here because I am going to make the announcement right now. And Trish Stratus walked out, and Trish had to pretend after she was offered the title shot for Evolution. Well, I had no idea this was going to happen. So why were you there? Tiffany Stratton rings you up and says, can you come to SmackDown? Oh, yeah, sure, I'd love to come to SmackDown. Can you tell me why? No. And I think the major issue is that Tiffany Stratton doesn't have any good heels to go against, hence why we kept going back to Nia Jax. And even though Tiffany Time gets pops, I still think she would be better as a bad guy. So all of this is just a little bit convoluted. Stratus also jumped on her ass right away because she was like, well, actually, my kids have never seen me as a champion, so I'm going to make you pay. But they also referenced the fact they did team up at the Elimination Chamber. So at least there's some kind of a thread. I'm actually thrilled that my fingers came together. Usually I do that. I knew it was going to happen. It also goes to show that if you are a WWE superstar and you would like a title shot, just go have a baby. You're allowed to get the opportunity. So yeah, this ties into the build that I was just talking about. It feels totally random, but I'm always going to give it up to Trish Stratus. She's really, really good. And who the flub wouldn't want to see these kind of matches? It's the best thing about wrestling. Tiffany's go-home line wasn't great, though. I do have to throw that in there, because she was like, oh, Stratus, it's not the Attitude Era anymore. And I was like, wait a minute. Trish Stratus has been back multiple times since the late 90s. You can't just forget. Don't insult us. That's what Kevin Owens says all the time. So it was a weird segment, but Trish on the show, good. Soda then probably introduced a brand new member of the Bloodline in one of his backstage videos. And yes, we're calling him Talatonga, or if you want to get your pronunciation wrong, Tall Tonga, because he's really tall. I know, I'm an absolute baby, but these things make me laugh. Of course, it is the former Hikaleo, in case you want to be up to speed. And so does Sikoa was like, oh man, we're not the Bloodline anymore, because this is my family, and my family is complete. Which could mean the era of random people running into a ring in hoodies and then going, ta-da, I'm in the Bloodline now, is over. I mean, we had a pretty good run. Soda is so confident too, he has decided it'll be him and JC Mateo taking on Jimmy Uso and Jacob Fatu later, and he doesn't even want his boys at ringside. So I've just got to say this. I think they are tremendous as a stable. They just make me want to give them a thumbs up. I don't even know what that means. This is when Jade remembered, oh man, I forgot to throw barbs at Trish. So she found her and said, listen, if you do win Evolution, you will be taking on me at SummerSlam. Trish was like, yeah, I don't understand how all of this works. When Naomi, with her brand new briefcase, which is so over the top, just smacked Jade Cargill so hard. I mean, that's basically assault. Jade also went crazy at Nick Aldis after this, saying, oh, I want to fight Naomi. And I think we're doing a no-holds-barred match at Saturday night's main event. So I guess Jade will win that, and then Naomi will screw her over at SummerSlam and become the champ. Totally fine with this. My favourite part of all of this, though, is that when Nick Aldis attended to Jade Cargill, he said, let's take you to the trainer's room and talk about it. But it sounded like he said, let's get you some trainers, which is what us UK people call sneakers, and talk about it. Like Jade Cargill was 7 years old. Oh, you got a boo-boo. Let's go get ice cream and everything will be fine. You're not going to believe this either. Andrade and Fenix then won another match, and they were taking on Fraxiom, who have quite a good win-loss record on SmackDown. This is crazy to me. Andrade doesn't win matches. That's when I figured it out. What's their name? Ray and Andrade, or Raw? They're just scaring people half to death. This was just so much damn fun, though. And even though early on the clacks did go off, and they were all fighting, it was just so over the top and so entertaining. It's one of those matches where you sit there and watch it, and you're just like, these are 4 talented cats, man. And I could probably watch them all day, or for the allocated time, they shall be allotted on SmackDown. We also got a bunch of dives here because 2025 and Fraxiom were doing all their crazy new combo moves, which I find very entertaining. And even when Andrade got the hot tag, he hit the 3 Amigos, and then Fenix came off the top rope with the splash of the frogs. We then got all the 1-2s, just like being on a crazy roller coaster, but you didn't think you were gonna die. Fraxiom were also gonna hit their Spanish Fly Fenix splash combo at 1.2, but Fenix broke that up. when he went flying over Nathan Frazier to take over Axiom. That's when Andrade saw his opening, he hit the message, he got the 1-2-3. He also hit his reverse back elbow before all this, and honestly, he is smashing that thing better than ever. I am giving this an up, and honestly, put both of these tag teams on Raw, and let's do something with them over there, because they can challenge for the title. This really was pretty good. And if you want one match to watch from this evening, well, I'd likely choose that one. These dudes are cooking. Damian Priest and Aleister Black then had the most passive-aggressive conversation backstage, because Damian Priest was like, oh, I hear you're taking on Ron Killings next week. Aleister Black was like, yeah, I am, and you're not going to believe what I'm going to do to him. Damian was like, oh, maybe you're not going to believe what I'm going to do to you. There was no Carmelo Hayes here, but when they said goodbye, this was so good. Aleister went Priest, and Damian went Black. When you saw it in context, you're like, this doesn't make any sense. They all sound like they're on drugs. However, if these four dudes are going to be linked together, sign me up, I'm ready. When we ended with our big old tag team match, I was a big fan of this because these guys rarely get to main event, but it was Solo Sikoa and JC Mateo taking on Jimmy and Jacob. So I know what we can call them, J and J Security. I see no problems with this whatsoever. Bless this Solo Sikoa as well, because he cut all corners to get on top. When he was there, he started mocking Jacob for Fatu's pose. And I've told everybody you shouldn't do this in 2025 because you will get murked. But man, it made me laugh. And surprise, surprise, Jimmy Uso kicked his head off. It was always going to happen. JC Mateo also got in there, and he is being allowed to be the big man. And he's slowly starting to feel like Jeff Cobb more and more each and every week, which is a good thing. And as soon as he could, Jimbo hit the Samoan drop because he is Samoan. And he hot the hot tag to Jacob Fatu. And you won't believe this, so I brace yourself. That guy ran wild. He also headbutted Solo Sikoa over again, which really made me chuckle. When we got all the kicks that were super. When Jimmy and Jacob both did dives 2025. So given that we had around about 45,622 dives on this show, and because you asked for it in the comments, there it is. The worst counter we will ever do, the dive counter. Now it has to go up to 2, because this counts as 2 dives, even though they did do it in stereo. I'm worried about this, and I'm so going to miss one. It's basically the end of my life. We kept the finish nice and simple as well, though, because essentially Jimmy and JC took each other out, meaning we had a fight between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, and even though Solo was trying to use the thumb, he wasn't able to. When Jacob unloaded with all of his arsenal, he hit all of his offensive moves, and he got the moonsault, and he got the 1-2-3. So it's a bit like, well, he just did pin the US champion, probably deserves a rematch. Jacob was going to beat up Solo Sikoa afterwards as well, and finally out came Tangaloa and Tula Tonga, because even though they've been told not to be involved in the match, they were always going to do something afterwards. And yeah, they put a beating on these guys and Jimmy Uso when they picked up Jake and went, ha ha, Alan, the announce table is over there. And they threw him through it. He was dead. The bloodline or the family, whatever the flub we're calling them, stood tall, especially Solo Sikoa has his US title. Say goodnight to SmackDown. So I really like this just because mainly I enjoy all the characters, so I am going to give it an up. And while you can argue it was a little bit of an anticlimactic main event, that's totally fine. I mean, we're focused on the US Championship, it's going to help there, and we're focusing on these guys too. Sometimes you've got to do that. It just makes sense. Good SmackDown, I thought. Getting it up. And a huge reason for this too is because it has gone back to 2 hours, and I'm sorry, on this evidence alone, I think it's totally the right decision. It zoomed on by, and it made me want more. It didn't get me to the point where I'm like, there's too much wrestling. I need it to end. So yes, I would definitely go and check it out. But please, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Click the video on the screen, which is ups and downs for Raw. Otherwise, just have a good weekend. There's not that many shows over this couple of days. The next weekend, there's like 11 of them. I have no idea what we are going to do, but we will figure it out. See you soon.